Let's hold up 1 second, and before we go further, to look back and to kind of understand a little bit more about the data that we are going to study before we go further. So the data that you have here is basically a data set that about inflammation in patients that have a new treatment of arthritis. And we need to analyze the data set for their daily inflammations. So the data set are stored in the comma separated values. The inflammation data is on file from 1 to 12 are in comma separated values. And each row representing one unique patient. And each column represents successive days. So that means this is patient 1 having inflammation going from collected information on inflammation going from day 1 to day 40. And this is the number of implementation happen per day for each patient. So putting that into context, let's say I want to set a variable called patient 1. So what should the index of patient 1 be if I want to collect all of the inflammation of patient 1 throughout the entire trial? What should be before the comma, and what should be after the comma?
So 1 before the comma and nothing after?
1 before the comma and nothing after the comma. So patient 1 is 1 observation of 40 variables. So I provide a set of arithmetic function that allow you to do some simple thing to quickly do some descriptive analytic of your data. So for example, if I want to ask for what is the highest number of inflammation that this patient experienced, I can type max and the variable name. So which means that within this 40 days, there is a day that this patient experienced 18 episodes of inflammation. We can also do the mean. And when you assign a variable of type data frame to a variable, the subsequent variable is still a data frame. But if you want to convert it into something else, you can also do this. This will convert this into a vector. So we have max, we have min, we can also have, oops. Up. So here's the issue when you're trying to run the mean. When you are running mean and max, it still understand the data as when you're running the data across the row, it doesn't really understand it as a numeric value. All of the R function is acting on the basis of a vector. And the value that we have here is not exactly a vector. This is going across the row. So in order to apply statistical function just such as mean or deviations, we need to specify it as, we need to convert that into the vector form, which is called numeric. So if I do I need to do a conversion on the data row in order to apply the mean function on the data set. So we can see that on average for patient 1 and patient 2, the average is roughly around 5 inflammation episodes per day. Similarly, beside mean, you can also do median and standard deviation. So as we are calling mean and median here, we are still only doing it for one column or one row of patient per day. In our work, as we start looking at the data set, we wish to be able to do some sort of very sweeping analysis across the entire data. Let's say I don't want to look at just the mean of one patient. I want to look at the mean of inflammation across all patients, or I want to look at the mean of inflammation across all of the days of the trials. So in order to do that, R has a function called apply. What apply does is, as the name of it shows, apply take a data frame or a matrix and it look at the index, either row, margin. So basically they look at the dimension. Either we want to do apply across all the row or all the column, and we want to apply a certain function to the data set. So in this case, we want to do average patient inflammations So this is my data set. Let's see. So margins, 1 indicate row and 2 indicate column. We want to look at the patients. That means we want to look at the row and we want to apply the mean function. So you can see the new variable here, average patient's inflammation type numeric, and you can see the first two that are the one we calculated, 45, 42, and we can see the entire thing here. Similarly, if I want to calculate for the day, RStudio in the latest version is going to have auto fill-in. So if you start typing in, if the keyword, if the word that you are typing in start to match with either a unique function name or some of the variable that you have, a drop-down list will pop up and you don't have to type the entire thing, and you can just select what you want to see.